Imagine buying a car today only to discover 6 months later that the brand is restructuring, dealers are closing, and your warranty is worthless. You drive to the dealership for service and find an empty lot with a for lease sign. You try to trade in your vehicle, and the dealer offers half what you expected because nobody wants a car from a dying brand. That nightmare is happening right now to thousands of buyers across America. The automotive industry faces a crisis unlike anything since the 2008 collapse that killed Pontiac, Saturn, and Hummer. But this time, the warning signs are different. Sales are plummeting not because of recession, but because of strategic failures, identity crises, and inability to compete. Electric vehicles, Chinese competition, changing buyer preferences, and massive debt loads are creating a perfect storm. Factories are shutting down. Massive layoffs are being announced. Dealer networks are contracting at alarming rates. Here's what most people don't realize. When an automaker starts to fail, it doesn't happen overnight. It is a slow collapse over years. First, product development slows and new models get delayed. Then sales decline and dealers start closing. Resale values tank as buyers lose confidence. Service centers disappear. Parts become scarce. Warranty claims get harder to process. By the time bankruptcy comes, owners have already lost thousands. Today we're counting down 10 brands that analysts warn might not survive 2026. These aren't tiny startups. These are established names with decades of history. Some were symbols of luxury, others known for reliability, but behind glossy ads, financial data tells a terrifying story. Number 1 will shock you because it is a global giant everyone considers rock solid. Let's dive in. Number 10. Mitsubishi. In the 1990s, Mitsubishi was a cultural icon. Eclipse dominated import racing and appeared in Fast and Furious. Lancer Evolution competed with Subaru W. Montero was a legitimate off-roader. Peak sales hit 345,000 annually. Then, around 2004, leadership made a catastrophic decision, offering subprime financing to boost sales. At first it worked. Sales figures looked impressive. But when defaults skyrocketed, Mitsubishi hemorrhaged billions. Product development budgets were slashed. Marketing evaporated. The brand that competed on innovation was reduced to rebadging platforms. Today, sales collapsed to 102,000 units, down 70%. Eclipse gone. Lancer Evo gone. Montero vanished. What remains are rebadged Nissan platforms. Dealer network shrunk 30% in 5 years. 3-year-old Outlander loses 60% of value versus 40% industry average. Parts availability declining when dealers close. Owners lose warranty access. Number 9. Alfa Romeo. Returned to us in 2014 after 2 decades with racing heritage and Italian passion. Giulia and Stelvio earned spectacular reviews. Giulia Quadrifoglio set NFAB Burgering lap record for sedans. Journalists declared it the best sports sedan available, but American buyers stayed away. Sales peaked at just 23,800 units in 2018, collapsed to 9,000 by 2024. Consumer Reports ranks Alfa near bottom for reliability. Electrical malfunctions, transmission failures, build quality problems unacceptable in $40,000 vehicles. Just 135 dealers remaining. Some go months without selling a single unit. 2. Model lineup far too narrow. BMW offers 15 models, Mercedes 20. Stellantis admits, Alfa bleeds money. Analysts predict phase out within 2 years. 3-year-old Giulia loses 55% of value. Owners face collapsing resale, shrinking service networks, uncertain parts. Number 8. Jaguar. For decades, Jaguar represented the pinnacle of British luxury and automotive artistry. The E-Type, launched in 1961, was called the most beautiful car ever made by Enzo Ferrari himself. The XJ sedan became the choice of prime ministers, executives, and discerning enthusiasts who valued elegance over ostentation. Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, Jaguar built a reputation on timeless design, refined performance, and aristocratic charm that German competitors couldn't replicate. The brand symbolized old-world craftsmanship meeting modern engineering. But the decline has been brutal and relentless. United States sales collapsed from a peak of 54,000 units in 2002 to a catastrophic 7,100 vehicles in 2024, representing an 87% freefall. This isn't gradual decline. This is a brand in total collapse. And then in 2023, Jaguar made one of the most shocking announcements in automotive history. It would cease selling virtually all new vehicles in the United States market for most of 2024 and all of 2025 to prepare for a radical transformation into an all-electric luxury brand targeting ultra wealthy buyers with prices exceeding $100,000. Think about the implications. Jaguar essentially abandoned its existing customer base and dealer network overnight. Current owners were left with vehicles from a brand that stopped selling new cars. Dealers were left with no inventory to sell and no new customers to serve. The strategy represents a massive gamble that the brand can leapfrog from struggling mid-tier luxury to ultra-premium territory, competing with Bentley, Rolls-Royce, and ultra-luxury electric vehicles from startups like Lucid. But here is the fundamental problem that makes this strategy so risky. It borders on delusional. Jaguar has zero credibility in the ultra-luxury segment. Wealthy buyers who can afford vehicles above $100,000 associate Jaguar with reliability problems, steep depreciation, and mid-tier luxury, not bespoke craftsmanship, exclusivity, and prestige. The brand's reputation has been damaged by years of electrical issues, quality control problems, and resale values that make German competitors look like investments. Why would someone spending that kind of money choose Jaguar over established ultra-luxury brands with proven track records? The dealer network is collapsing in real time. Over 50 Jaguar dealerships have permanently closed or transitioned to selling only Land Rover models in the past 3 years. For existing owners, this creates a nightmare scenario. Fewer service locations mean longer drives for routine maintenance. Wait times for parts are increasing. Technicians trained on Jaguar vehicles are becoming scarce. Resale values have cratered. A 5-year-old F-Pace SUV loses nearly 65% of its original value, making it one of the worst financial decisions in the luxury segment. Try selling one privately, and you'll discover buyers are terrified of future repair costs and parts availability. Consumer Reports and J.D. Power both rank Jaguar among the least reliable luxury brands, with frequent issues related to electronics, transmissions, and infotainment systems. When a luxury brand can't deliver basic dependability, it destroys consumer trust. And once that trust evaporates, rebuilding it takes decades of flawless execution. Jaguar doesn't have decades. It has maybe 2 years to prove this radical transformation can work. If the 3 new electric vehicles launching in 2026 don't immediately capture ultra-wealthy buyers and generate sustainable profits, the brand will likely be discontinued entirely. For anyone considering a used Jaguar, understand you are buying into extreme uncertainty, limited dealer support, questionable parts availability, and resale values that will only continue dropping. Number 7. Maserati. There was a time when Maserati stood shoulder to shoulder with Ferrari and Lamborghini as a symbol of Italian automotive excellence and exotic prestige. Founded in 1914 in Bologna, the brand built its reputation through racing dominance and hand-crafted grand touring cars that combined blistering performance with elegant luxury. Models like the Quattroporte sedan represented the ultimate expression of Italian style. The Gran Turismo Coupe with its Ferrari-derived V8 engine delivered a soundtrack and driving experience that German rivals couldn't match. Owning a Maserati meant joining an exclusive club of enthusiasts who valued passion and heritage over mass market appeal. But over the past decade, Maserati made a series of catastrophic strategic decisions that completely destroyed its prestige and credibility. In a desperate attempt to boost sales volumes and chase mainstream luxury buyers, the brand launched the Ghibli sedan priced aggressively to compete directly with entry-level BMW 5 Series and Mercedes-Benz E-Class offerings. The strategy was fundamentally flawed from the start. Instead of expanding the customer base and growing the brand, it diluted Maserati's exclusivity and exposed severe quality issues to a much wider audience who had never experienced the brand before. United States sales peaked at 16,800 units in 2014, when the Ghibli launch briefly created momentum. But the collapse was swift and brutal. By 2024, sales had plummeted to fewer than 6,500 vehicles annually, a 61% decline that signals complete loss of market confidence. Customer reviews and reliability surveys painted a devastating picture. Owners reported frequent engine failures, chronic electrical malfunctions, and repair costs that far exceeded even other Italian exotic brands. The problems weren't just inconvenient, they were expensive and constant. Depreciation has been absolutely catastrophic. A 3-year-old Maserati Ghibli loses over 70% of its original value, making it quite literally one of the worst financial decisions anyone can make in the automotive world. You could buy a Ghibli for $60,000 and 3 years later, it is worth barely $20,000. Meanwhile, a comparable BMW or Mercedes retains 55 to 60% of its value. That $30,000 difference represents money that simply evaporated because you chose the wrong badge. The dealer network is contracting rapidly and barely hanging on. Maserati operates through just 110 dealerships scattered across the United States, and many of those locations are struggling to stay profitable with such low sales volumes. When dealers only sell 5 or 6 vehicles per month, they can't justify investing in technician training, maintaining comprehensive parts inventory, or providing the white-glove service experience that luxury buyers expect and demand. This creates another vicious cycle where poor dealer experiences drive even more customers away. Parent company Stellantis has publicly acknowledged that Maserati is deeply unprofitable and announced ambitious plans to transform the brand into an all-electric luxury lineup. But the first electric vehicle, the Grecale Folgore, received lukewarm reviews from automotive journalists and has failed to generate meaningful sales momentum. Pricing remains uncompetitive compared to electric offerings from Tesla, BMW, Mercedes, and Audi. Without compelling products or clear brand identity, Maserati faces a genuine existential crisis. For current owners, the outlook is grim. Dealer networks are shrinking. Parts scarcity is becoming a real and growing concern, and resale values continue falling. When luxury brands fail, owners lose access to the support infrastructure they paid premium prices to obtain. Number 6. Genesis. When Hyundai launched Genesis as a standalone luxury brand in November 2015, the automotive world took notice. The ambition was audacious: create a credible luxury competitor that could challenge Lexus, BMW, Mercedes, Benz, and Audi within a single decade. Hyundai invested billions in design studios, hired top talent from German luxury brands, built dedicated manufacturing facilities, and developed a completely new lineup of premium vehicles. Early models like the G80 sedan and flagship G90 earned genuine praise from automotive journalists for their design quality, generous standard features, and exceptional value proposition. On paper, the strategy made perfect sense. Hyundai had already proven it could build reliable, high-quality vehicles with mainstream models, like the Sonata and Santa Fe. The company had strong financial backing and leadership commitment. Genesis products offered luxury features and performance comparable to German rivals at prices thousands of dollars lower. Industry observers predicted Genesis would disrupt the luxury market and capture significant share from established players within 5 to 7 years. But reality has been far harsher and more unforgiving than anyone anticipated. Despite billions in investment, comprehensive marketing campaigns, and genuinely competitive products, Genesis has struggled desperately to gain any meaningful traction with American luxury buyers. United States sales peaked at just 49,000 units in 2022, then actually declined to approximately 42,000 vehicles in 2024. For context and perspective, Lexus sells over 260,000 vehicles annually in the same market. Even Volvo, another challenger brand, moves significantly more inventory. Genesis's inability to grow reveals fundamental challenges that threaten its long-term viability and survival. The first and most significant obstacle is brand perception and stigma. American luxury buyers remain deeply skeptical of a Hyundai-owned luxury brand regardless of how well engineered the vehicles actually are, or how many awards they win. Decades of conditioning have taught premium buyers that luxury means German engineering or Japanese refinement. Overcoming this psychological barrier requires not just good products, but decades of consistent execution, massive sustained marketing investment, and unwavering commitment from corporate leadership. Genesis has competitive products, but appears to lack the patience and resources to see the long-term strategy through to success. The second critical issue is the dealer experience, which remains inconsistent and problematic. Genesis operates through a confused hybrid model combining standalone boutique showrooms in major metropolitan areas with shared spaces inside existing Hyundai dealerships in smaller markets. This creates confusion and inconsistency. Customers visiting a Hyundai dealership to service their Genesis often receive subpar treatment that completely undermines the premium experience the brand promises. Sales staff lack proper training. Service bays treat Genesis vehicles like regular Hyundais. Meanwhile, standalone Genesis boutiques struggle with low foot traffic and minimal sales volumes that make profitability nearly impossible. The third challenge is resale value and depreciation. Genesis vehicles lose value faster than established luxury competitors, depreciating 50 to 55% within just 3 years, compared to 40 to 45% for equivalent BMW or Lexus models. For luxury buyers who carefully calculate total cost of ownership and view vehicles as investments, this depreciation gap is a complete deal-breaker. Why accept worse resale when you can buy a BMW that holds value significantly better? Financially, Genesis remains deeply unprofitable after nearly a decade in market. Hyundai has invested over $5 billion into the brand, with minimal return on that massive investment. Industry analysts are increasingly questioning how long Hyundai leadership will tolerate these sustained losses, especially as the parent company faces mounting pressure to invest heavily in electrification and compete globally with Chinese manufacturers. If sales don't improve dramatically and meaningfully within the next 2 years, Genesis could be significantly downsized, repositioned as ultra-niche, or discontinued entirely for potential buyers. These risks are impossible to ignore. Uncertain brand longevity translates directly into potential service disruptions, limited parts availability, and accelerating resale value collapse. Number 5. Infiniti. When Nissan launched Infiniti in November 1989, it represented a bold challenge to Lexus and Acura in the emerging Japanese luxury market. The brand's early lineup showcased genuine innovation and performance credentials. The Q45 flagship sedan featured a powerful V8 engine and advanced technology that competed directly with BMW 7 Series and Mercedes S-Class. The M30 Coupe offered sleek styling and engaging driving dynamics. Throughout the 1990s and early 2000s, Infiniti enjoyed steady growth momentum and built a loyal customer base. Models like the G35 Sport Sedan and FX35 crossover became genuine enthusiast favorites that combined Nissan's reliability with genuine performance and luxury refinement. Peak sales reached 138,000 units annually in 2005, and the future looked promising. But everything fell apart. By 2024, United States sales had collapsed to just 46,000 vehicles, a devastating 67% decline from peak years that signals complete strategic failure. This isn't a temporary market adjustment or economic downturn impact. This is a brand that has lost its identity, alienated its customer base, and can no longer articulate a compelling reason for buyers to choose it over established competitors. The first catastrophic mistake came in 2013 when Infinit leadership launched a confusing and unpopular alphanumeric naming scheme that replaced memorable, established model names like G35 and FX35 with forgettable designations like Q50 and QX60. Customers hated it. Automotive journalists ridiculed it. Even Infinit dealers complained loudly. The change destroyed years of carefully built brand equity and model recognition overnight. Loyal G35 owners had no idea what a Q50 was. FX enthusiasts couldn't figure out which QX model replaced their beloved crossover. The naming disaster eroded customer loyalty and created widespread confusion that persists today. Despite universal negative feedback, Infinit stubbornly refused to reverse course or acknowledge the mistake. The second and equally devastating failure has been complete product stagnation and lack of differentiation. Infinit's current lineup consists almost entirely of outdated platforms shared directly with mass-market Nissan vehicles with minimal, meaningful upgrades. The QX50 crossover shares its problematic variable, compression turbo engine with the Nissan Rogue. The QX63 Row SUV is essentially a rebadged Nissan Pathfinder with leather seats and slightly upgraded materials. The QX80 full-size SUV rides on a platform that is nearly 2 decades old. This fundamental lack of differentiation completely undermines Infinit's credibility as a legitimate luxury brand and gives buyers absolutely no compelling reason to pay premium prices for what are basically Nissans with fancier badges. Number 4. Chrysler. American icon founded 1925. Peak 264,000 annual sales. Today, entire lineup. Aging 300 sedan and Pacifica minivan. That is it. Sales collapsed to 110,000, down 58%. Stellantis announced all-electric pivot by 2028. But why trust Chrysler with EVs when it failed traditional segments? Over 150 dealers closed in 5 years. Brand unprofitable, survives only through platform sharing. Analysts predict phase out by 2027 if EV strategy fails. Number 3. Buick, 1980s. Peak 900,000 sales collapsed to 155,000 by 2024, down 83%. Average buyer age 65. Lineup only SUVs, abandoning signature sedans. Ironically thrives in China with 800,000 sales, but GM shows zero U.S. interest. GM's electrification prioritizes Chevrolet, GMC Cadillac. Buick receives minimal investment. Over 200 dealers closed in decade. Analysts predict North American discontinuation within 3 years. Number 2. Lincoln. American luxury over a century. Peak 231,000 late 1980s, fell to 79,000 by 2024, down 66%. Lineup consists of rebadged Ford SUVs. Aviator is Explorer. Nautilus is Edge. Corsair is Escape. Zero differentiation kills luxury credibility. Shared Ford dealer network creates inconsistent experience. First EV rebadged Mustang Mach-E with minimal marketing. Ford admits Lincoln unprofitable. Analysts predict discontinuation within 5 years if decline continues. Number 1. Nissan. This will shock you. Global giant selling millions annually. But 2024 posted $1.9 billion loss, worst in over a decade. Global sales down 12%. U.S. sales collapsed from 1.5 million peak to 920,000. Product lineup embarrassingly outdated, Altima unchanged while competitors launched fresh redesigns. Sentra generation behind. Frontier unchanged for 17 years before 2022 redesign. Pathfinder invisible in market. Nissan CVT transmissions notorious for catastrophic failures. Hundreds of thousands reporting breakdowns before 100,000 miles. Repair costs exceed $5,000. Class action lawsuits filed. Federal investigations launched. Consumer Reports downgraded reliability repeatedly. When reliability reputation collapses among family buyers who prioritize dependability, recovery nearly impossible. Nissan announced 9,000 job cuts globally, nearly 10% of workforce. Production capacity reduced 20%. These aren't efficiency improvements. These are desperate survival measures. Factories idled. Programs canceled. Marketing slashed. Over 100 dealers closed in 5 years. 3-year. Old Altima loses 55% of value, far worse than Honda and Toyota. Owners trying to trade Discover dealers and buyers deeply wary. Analysts openly question whether Nissan can survive independently. Some predict forced merger within 3 years. Others warn bankruptcy protection might be necessary. Either scenario catastrophic for owners who could find themselves holding vehicles from defunct brand, with vanishing dealer support and resale approaching zero. The automotive industry crisis is unlike 2008. These 10 brands represent billions in lost value. Thousands of closed dealerships, millions of concerned owners. Common thread is strategic failure. Some made catastrophic financial decisions. Others lost identity. Many underestimated market shifts. Some prioritized short-term sales over brand health. What makes this troubling is collapse speed. Social media amplifies reliability issues. Online reviews spread negative experiences instantly. Resale tracking makes depreciation transparent. Once brands lose momentum, downward spiral accelerates. For consumers, lesson is urgent. Before buying, research brand financial health through earnings reports and industry analysis. Examine dealer network stability. Investigate resale values using Kelley Blue Book and Edmunds. Read reliability surveys from Consumer Reports and J.D. Power. Ask hard questions. If this brand struggles in 3 years, will I get service conveniently? Will parts be available? What will my vehicle be worth? Can I afford to lose more value than expected if brand collapses? These aren't paranoid. They're practical considerations that could save thousands. Pay attention to warning signs. Aggressive incentives and huge discounts signal desperation. Dealer closures signal financial pressure. Delayed product launches reveal budget constraints. Layoffs and reduced production mean survival mode. These aren't normal cycles. These are distress signals smart buyers must recognize. Which brand shocked you most? Did any surprise you? Drop a comment and share thoughts. Subscribe for insights that could save thousands on your next purchase. Stay informed to protect yourself from expensive mistakes. Drive smart and research thoroughly.